Scottie Pippen.
You talk about getting up above the rim. Once he turns the corner and particularly likes to go right, he is up so high above, even difficult for Patrick Ewing to get a piece, or David Robinson or whoever else might want to step up and take a shot at it.
And Pippen, one of the great stories, inspiring from Central Arkansas. Ewing with a foul. He went to college on a football managerial project scholarship. And they said, well, you're not a bad basketball player. Why don't you give that a go? And here he is, one of the premier stars in the game.
Scottie's probably the best all-around player in the league, but Kukoc is another guy that's an all-around player. He plays with a lot of different positions, but they're going to miss a guy like Scottie Pippen.
It's a little bit more responsibility on me to do good things on the court, do what Scottie used to do.
As Pippen, when Jordan left this ball club, I think Pippen really tried to assume leadership, and he may have had some differences, particularly that game that Jackson wanted him to come out and have Kukoc take the last shot, and he kind of lost face here in Chicagoland in the Windy City. But this guy is just the total basketball player.
He sure is. Puts it to the floor, takes it in, lays down, has the range. Excellent defensive player. Led the league, as we told you, in steals last year. Rebounds extremely well for his size. What else is there to do? Now he'll only go in when the coach tells him to. Or not go in.
Or sit on the bench once in a while. I want to try this guy, you know.
In the East, the Bulls appear to have everything needed to oust the Knicks except leadership. A flaw highlighted when Scottie Pippen refused to come out for the final seconds of Game 3.
Scottie Pippen sitting out the last 1.8 seconds in Game 3 was, I think, kind of a defining moment for the Bulls. Deserting your teammates in those last few seconds is probably the cardinal sin in team sports, and I don't think he'll ever live that down.
Interesting, Pippen is not on the floor here. Kukoc gets it. It's all over! Despite the dramatic victory, the Bulls fell in 7 games, a loss that left many wondering what might have been with a man named Michael in the lineup.
Suddenly, Scottie Pippen no longer has to shoulder the burden of being the man, and Tony Kukoc won't have to worry about hitting the game-winning shot.
A year ago, you probably would have had to play. You were carrying this whole team on your shoulders. This year, you got your sidekick, Michael, back, and also Dennis Rodman. What's your assessment of the team?
If you look closely, this isn't just Michael and his supporting cast.
I think the best player in the league is Scottie Pippen, who can do so many things and hurt you in so many different ways.
Pippen is second on the team in scoring, rebounding, steals, and blocks, leads the team in threes, and is averaging more assists than half the point guards in the league, and people are taking notice.
Nobody matches up with the Bulls. They got the 2 best players. I think they've got 2 of the best players in the game, and Scottie and Michael. Jordan is going to get his points, but it's the little things that Pippen does that makes that team click.
When you thought of Chicago with Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, you thought of grace and elegance and style.
Little give-and-go basketball here. Pippen sets the pick, rolls off it, pass back by Jordan. Little acrobatics up in the air as he draws the defender away from Longley. And a nice drop down for the easy layup by the 7-footer.
Cut there by Pippen and Jordan. That's the experience. That's the confidence. Big-time stuff.
He's a scorer, he's good on the boards, and Scottie Pippen is one of the game's best distributors. Among NBA forwards, only the Pistons' Grant Hill dishes the ball to teammates with more success. Pippen is averaging 22 points and 6 rebounds per game as well. The Bulls are 41-3. Susie?
And you can see Pippen is truly enjoying the game once again, a long way from the turmoil he endured during the '94 playoffs. Bob Ryan reflects on Pippen's growth as we send it back to Dick Schaff in New York.
Bob Ryan missed Scottie Pippen in Central Arkansas, but he's been watching him ever since. All the great things that he's done on the court, will he be remembered longer for the 1.6 seconds he spent off the court?
Not in Chicago. Certainly not by the people who go to the games in Chicago. They forgave him within 24 hours, embraced him warmly the next night. And so I think as far as the rest of the league's concerned, these are 90s now, not the 50s. Players have a different attitude. I think a lot of people understood what he was doing. You and I might not, but these players do.
Even his teammates, that...
Oh, even his teammates, because they're no different than the other players in the league. They just seem to plug into this. All they know is this guy gives them elements on the court that are unapproachable or unattainable anywhere else. Got that long wingspan, plays defense, makes threes, makes great passes, gets clutch rebounds, goes up and down the floor gracefully. I mean, that's what they know.
Is he as good as his teammate?
Well, as a matter of fact, technically he is right now, but he doesn't have the aura of Michael Jordan, but he can do things in a package that is unsurpassed in the NBA today, but I don't think he's going to get to take the last shot with Michael on the team.
It was great. If one night one of us didn't have it, you could never tell. We were able to feed off each other and find a way to get ourselves going.
The Bulls of the 90s were probably, without question, one of the 3 best teams in the history of the NBA.
If Michael Jordan is not swinging a curveball, the Bulls win 8 straight NBA titles, and you can talk about it even more as maybe the greatest dynasty of all time.
He briefly stepped back into the hoop spotlight at Scottie Pippen's charity game, the last game at the Chicago Stadium. Rusty? Not at all. Then it was back to baseball, but hitting 200 wouldn't get him to the majors.
I'm not for Michael playing baseball. I wasn't for him playing. I could have had 2 more championships. He didn't play.
He disrupted the greatest career that we'll ever see in our lifetime in professional sports to go play baseball.
Into the Bulls last month and was named NBA Player of the Month for December.
Let's go to Hannah Storm with Scottie Pippen of the Chicago Bulls, a man who has been in the news as of late.
Well, he's a guy who made quite a statement last year at the All-Star game, not only with his play, but with those ugly red shoes. I noticed that you're quite calmer this year, the black and red version.
Yeah, this is the newer version of them. I was going to try the red ones, but I decided to come out with the little black. So I didn't think it would fit in with my purple too well.
Well, you know, a lot of people have been hoping that you'd wear a different color shoes, maybe coming up. A lot of trade rumors flying this week. The folks in Phoenix have made it clear they'd love to have you here. Talk of you maybe going to the Rockets. Is it your sense that you might be traded, or do you think you might be staying in Chicago?
Well, right now, I mean, I'm in Chicago, so, I'm going to leave it at that and just let whatever happens take place.
You said you'd like to come here. Do you still feel that way?
Well, definitely. I mean, this is a championship caliber team, a team that contend for a title. So if I'm traded here, it'll be more than welcome for me.
Scottie, with all the frustrations that you've gone through this season, how have you maintained an all-star level of play?
Well, basketball is the most funnest thing in my life right now. I enjoy it when I go out and play. I play hard, and it's just been the fun part of this season for me is that I've been having a good season and having a good time.
All right, thanks, Scottie. Continue to have a good time this afternoon. Mark?
Well, I think we were a good basketball team. I think we got a lot of work ahead of us for one, but I think realistically we got to put ourselves in perspective and realize there's a lot of work ahead of us. So no matter what everybody say, how well we're playing as a team, we realize that we got to get better.
By January of 1999, Jordan and Scottie Pippen were also gone. Standing amid the rubble of the collapsed dynasty was the Bulls' vice president of basketball operations, Jerry Krause. If Krause was unappreciated by the fans, Pippen was short-ended by the front office. Voted in 1996 as one of the NBA's 50 all-time greatest players, the 7-time All-Star complained that he was not only unappreciated, but underpaid.
Scottie said stuff like that all the time. He's quitting the team. He's quitting basketball. I mean, who could be? He says, I'm never going to wear a Bulls uniform again.
Scottie thought that he should get more respect. He thought that he should be held up on a pedestal as a superstar in the league.
The 98 season, when Pippen was out injured and angry and asking to be traded, Krause was on the bus, and Pippen was drunk at the back, screaming at Jerry Krause to trade him, and it got really ugly.
The source of Pippen's frustration was a 5-year, $18 million contract extension he signed in 1991. 3 years later, he was the Bulls' 5th highest paid player.
It was his fault. I mean, he wanted a contract that was front-loaded. So Jerry Reinsdorf held him to it, and he resented that.
Both Mr. Reinsdorf and I sat in a room with Scottie and said, don't sign this contract. It's going to be outmoded. And he said, I need the security. I want the contract.
See, Scottie was immature, and he just wanted that money. And even though Reinsdorf told him that, Pippen did it.
When the Bulls refused to renegotiate his contract, Pippen began counting down his days to free agency.
Scottie wanted out. He wanted to make his big money and wanted to try to prove himself outside of the shadow of Jordan.
I think Scottie was going to go. I really believe that. I think Scottie wanted a payday. He wanted a multi-year deal. He wanted security. I think that impacts everything else.
9 days after Jordan retired, Pippen got what he wanted by signing a 5-year, $67 million contract with Chicago with the understanding he would be dealt to Houston in a sign-and-trade. With the Bulls dynasty reduced to a memory, the rest of the cast dispersed throughout the league.
I ended up signing right after that with San Antonio, and Judd Bushler signed with Detroit, and Bill Wennington went to Sacramento. But Scottie's signing with Houston was probably the first domino to fall.
I think a significant amount of blame can be placed on Scottie Pippen's departure from Chicago and the downfall of the Chicago Bulls. He was a player that you could build a team around, and when he left, I think it all kind of fell apart.
But for the first time, we see Michael Jordan matched up against his old teammate Scottie Pippen. They played a total of 961 regular season games together, and of course, a bevy of playoff games, and they won 6 NBA titles together.
Well, you know, they were so, any championship team has to be strong defensively, and those two led the way. They were so disruptive defensively, creating turnovers and forcing bad shots.
Pippen is yet to walk out onto the court, and here he comes right now, and let's see what kind of greeting he and Michael have. Not much, just a tap of the fist. Dax jumper, too short. Pippen fell down and lost it. Wizards run 5 on 4. Now 4 on 3, and Jordan scores.
Players a little late in getting back, and Scottie Pippen drawing the contact.
Last year, Scottie scored the 18,000th point of his career and moved into 5th place on the all-time steals list in his 16th year from Central Arkansas.
Coach called Kukoc's number is redefining his reputation with a standout season. Roy Firestone now with Scottie Pippen for a Sunday Conversation.
Number 33 in his 9th campaign from Central Arkansas, Scottie Pippen.
They are saying that this is an MVP year for you, yet you're not the top 20 of scoring, and you're not really among the top leaders in rebounding. Why are people so enamored right now with Scott Pippen?
I think it's my consistency, my play out on the court, my numbers across the board. I don't do anything spectacular or great or lead the team in any category, but I'm always right there. I'm the number 2 player, and I've been the guy that's kind of been the leader of this team for the last few years, and now Michael is just back, and I think people see a different picture in me.
The public perception is it's still Michael's team now. It's back to being Michael's team again, and Scott can now do whatever he wants to do. He can sort of ease into a game. Does it feel a little more comfortable now?
It is. It's definitely a lot more comfortable, but you enjoy the spotlight. Everyone enjoys the spotlight and being the leader and being the go-to guy. But it's a lot of fun when you got a good group of thoroughbreds that you can go to as well, and then you can pick your places.
How about you and Dennis? How about the Worm? There's all kinds of stories that you guys just basically coexist on the team.
Well, Dennis is himself, and he's a guy that's to himself, and I'm to some degree that same type of person, but
So you're just like Robin, huh?
No, I'm not like Robin. I realize what type of person Dennis is, and I don't try to invade into his territory.
Let us in. Let us know what kind of person he is, because we sure as hell can't figure it out.
Well, he's a quiet person, and he's to himself, and when I'm around him, he talks, and he talks to guys on the team. Everybody looks at Dennis, for what he does when he plays in a game, and I don't see him that way. He puts on a show when he goes on the court, but so does Michael Jordan, so does Scottie Pippen. Everybody has their approach to the game, and Dennis have a little bit different approach.
Is this team as great as people are hyping it to be? Are you capable of winning 70 games and running off 33 in a row?
I feel like we're a great basketball team. I don't want that to override us into the playoff, and we start to get complacent and not play to our high potential in the playoff. But I think right now we're enjoying this regular season, and we realize we have something special going on, and we're winning games, and we're dominating teams, and we're making our fans bored. But it's a lot of fun, and you don't have too many regular seasons where you just have fun, and every night is a fun night for you, no matter who you're playing, because you're adding another win until you call them.
Is it important for you to make history, you and your team, do you think, in the back of your mind?
Personally, it'll be great, but no, it's not important. It's not important for us to really jeopardize what we have here by trying to make it a perfect 82-game season.
And lastly, everybody wants to be like Mike. That's what the song says. You want to be like Mike, or you want to be Mike?
No. I want to be like Scottie. That's all I can be, and that's all I ever want to be.